Hi there, welcome back. We're firmly in the new year of 2026. Oh my God, already gone. So I've come to the end of my 3-day fast. I was successful. I'm very excited. I was going to go longer, but I thought, nah, we will just work ourselves up to longer. We just won't plunge into something more than 3 days. And I managed it okay. Yesterday I had, just to help me with my electrolytes, I took in half a cup of pickle juice. We save that all year long for just these occasions. And today I broke out of my fast by having some chicken broth. And then I ate a little bit more as the day went on. And the best support I got was from a Facebook friend. I've not met him in person. He's somewhere in a hot state in the States. His name's Jerry. He's 72, and he's been very supportive and commenting and reaching out and making sure everything's okay. And his favorite saying is to forge on. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do with my health plans for this year. Now, Jerry's somebody that, I don't know, I kind of like what he's doing with himself. He was a chunky monkey when he was my age. And then he got himself very, very fit. I mean, he could do the weirdest of things with his fitness. Just absolutely, he created a world gym in his garage, and he's got clients coming in there to train with him. And he's also got himself like a house band, and they often play in his house, and he's been working on his instruments. And I'm like, I want to be like Jerry. Now today I'm going to talk about as we retire or turn 60, whether we are shrinking our life or expanding our life. And quite often when one retires, one just kind of shrinks into non-existence. And that's not what I want to do. In fact, I'm trying to expand my world. When I'm talking about expanding myself, I'm not talking about expanding my waistline, although that's doing just fine on its own and one of the things I'm working with. But I just gave Annie and Phoenix their snacks, their treats. They are a part of expanding my world, and a very exciting part because I'm new at this. I'll just turn. There we go. She's pregnant, and we weren't sure at the start of it all, but her belly is getting a little bit bigger, so she's supposed to be due at the end of May, and so that's very exciting. And part of the expanding my interests and my learnings is to look for depth in learning. I'm going to learn how to handle a new foal when it shows up, how to basically do a bit of imprint training. I think that's what it's called. I've got some books on it now, and I've got some videos on it, and I'll learn what I can. And I do have a couple of friends that are horse people, and I'll learn from them as well. I'm thinking as we get older, especially after we retire, we shouldn't fixate on the whole aging issue, because that's going to happen whether we fixate on it or not. I'm thinking we should add depth to our life. And I was just thinking about my father. Now, I sometimes think, especially with men, that when they retire, if they got nothing else to do with their day, that's when they deteriorate. And that's probably why some of them kick off earlier than the women in their lives, because they have no more purpose in life. And my dad's 88. For the last 60 years, they've been on the farm. And really, he should have sold up the farm and moved into town a long time ago, but he still stays on the farm. I'm thinking that if they retired to town years ago, I don't think he'd still be here because, one, he needs to get out of the house to take a break from mom. And that's probably kept them fairly happy for the last, 65 years. But it gets him a reason to get up and get out of the house and to keep busy, because that was his dream and that's what he did for his whole, most of his life. Mom hated it. Dad loved it. But he's not one, he's kind of an introvert. He enjoys reading, he enjoys the animals, the cattle, and that kind of stuff. And he really does not enjoy the coffee clutch gossiping, which is what would have happened if they would have moved into the city, right? Some of the uncles and aunts, they moved into apartments connected to their churches, and they get together every week to have coffee and whatnot. And I'm thinking that would bore the ever-living out of Dad, as it would bore me as well, I think. And so, yeah, I can understand why Dad at 88 is still not off the farm. Now, the older that Jasmine gets, the easier it is for me to get some more depth into my life, to get deeper into the things I want to learn. When I was working, it was a bit hard, right? Because you're raising a child, a baby, you're dealing with social services, or I was, working full-time night shifts. There was just no time for anything other than kind of shallow everything. Now, before I retired, I invested in all the instruments that I'd ever want to learn. All the stringed instruments, the piano, the drums. I played them off and on my whole life, and I want to get deeper into them now. And that's my plan for the winter and going forward. And hopefully bring Jasmine along with me to help her learn as well. Dancing, I really loved being a part of the Country Pride Dance Club in Red Deer that I was a part of, and had a lot of fun. But now we're more than an hour away from there, and so it was just too much of a drive to go in, and I haven't found any equivalent to that kind of a group here in my town. So that's why I was looking at shuffle dancing and line dancing and belly dancing, or anything that doesn't require couples, because if I'm going to get a real routine at it, I kind of need to find stuff that's on my own. And if I can talk Owen into it, maybe we can do a few things like, I don't know, West Coast swing or something, because that's a lot of fun. And we'd also like to learn a language. Now, this is going to be a family project. Owen had talked about how it would be probably a good idea if the three of us took a second language. Now, I know a little bit of German, but unless you've got people around you to practice with, it's kind of hard, and there's not a whole lot of need for German around here. And French, everybody's got French. Well, Canadian, right? We thought, okay, Spanish. We'll try Spanish. So we've talked about it off and on for you and me are standing and waiting for Jasmine to come off the bus, which is why I'm looking around, waiting for the bus to show up. So we had talked about learning Spanish for a while now. And so today I ordered up a few of these learning books, and we'll get on that as well. Now, quite often at our age, we retire and we decide we're going to get fit, especially in January, and we're going to go to a gym. Now, anytime I've gotten myself into this situation of buying gym passes, I go once and that's about it. So it's a very expensive day. And I know myself, right at this point, I'm not going to go. I know I'm not going to go. I can buy it, I can talk about it, but I'm just not going to go. Not to the gym anyway, not at my state of unfitness. Now, I have plenty of equipment downstairs to work with. I've got some weights, I've got the elliptical, I've got the treadmill, just a variety of things. So I'm going to work away at that and see how far I can get myself. And then if I progress well, then I'll go to the gym to use their heavier equipment so that we don't have to buy it. There was one thing I wanted to do, and that's probably 2 years into the future for me. Now, I wanted to learn some martial arts of some sort or another. And there are a couple of schools there in Rocky that I could go to. The problem is I can't leave Jasmine home alone, and Owen is not back from work until the class is over. So I got to wait until Jasmine can spend an hour alone by herself. So yeah, it ain't now, but it will be coming in the future, and that'll be kind of fun. Getting in deep and learning new things is a great thing for your brain. Another thing I'm going to do is, especially when spring shows up, keep a track on what plants are growing in our 96-acre forest, because I've always been interested in foraging, learning what plants we have, what plants we can eat, what's good for medicine, what we have out here. I do know that we have mushrooms, but I want to get someone to teach me what I'm not going to die off of. You know, the pretty red ones. I mentioned going deep in the learning with horses. So I got tons of books, tons of learning that I can do. And I ordered up a course and that showed up. So I'll be doing that. And another thing I've done a ton of reading on, oddly enough, because of my religious background and the difficulty I had with how I was raised in the evangelical churches. Now, it was at the beginning, just before I turned 60, I started going in deep on the Bible studying. I got all the way up to Daniel, and I just had to stop. I couldn't anymore. I just couldn't. So then I'm deconstructing. I'm trying to figure out what I believe, what I don't believe, what was pushed onto me by my family, by my church, and yeah, that's where I'm going there. So it's going in deep on the spiritual side of things. I also want to go into depth on the few good friends that I have. I have a video about the friendships in my life and what happens when you retire, and especially if you move. Goodness, anybody that has said, "Oh, Annette, we should get together. We should have coffee. We're going to come out to your acreage because it's beautiful." And nobody has showed up. It's been 2 years? So they're not going to show up. So I do have my handful. There's a couple of new ones that I will encourage to grow. Spend some time with them, get to learn them. A part of going in depth with things in life at this age is called also the pruning off of things that don't serve you anymore. I guess that's the phrase, right? If they're unhealthy for you, if it leaves you exhausted and agitated, just back away and make space for going more deeply in on the relationships that do work for you. I am excited that I am able to use this time now to go deeper into the subjects that I'm interested in. Growing our acreage is a huge one. I'm not shrinking in life at all. I'm hoping to shrink in size. But yeah, I'm seeing the bus. If you can see the flicker and lights back there, that's the bus coming. And yeah, as Jasmine grows, I'll have more ability to learn more and grow deeper in the things that are interesting me. So this is Annette from Carpe Omnia after 60. Hoping to see you again in a few days. Take care.